Hey everyone! Welcome to Houston Baptist University Psych 5310, Ethical and Professional Issues in Psychology and Counseling. Glad you are here. Welcome to Module 2. This is covering Chapters 3 and 4. So let's go straight into Chapter 3. Values. As individuals, we all have values, things that are important to us. Perhaps family or faith or doing the right thing, working hard. These are different things that are ingrained in us from the time we were a child, oftentimes from our family. We have values that are important to us. Consider the values to be things that are really important to us. And this impacts the counseling process. In fact, you may have gone into counseling in the first place because helping others is a value of yours. So your values are very important to you. They impact your thoughts, your reactions to everything you experience in life is filtered through the lens of your values. As a counselor, the question is, can you be completely objective? What do you think when you meet someone whose values are not the same as yours? You are expected as a counselor to value the values of the clients, whatever their views are and their values are. We are expected to honor them and respect them. So we have to be careful that our values as a person, as a human, as a counselor, do not influence in a negative way the counseling process. There are some questions that you need to consider as you're thinking about your values. Are you ever justified as a counselor in introducing or influencing a client's values? Or can you leave them alone in their values and just agree to disagree? Or will it always bother you a little bit in the background? What if your client is making a decision that you feel is very self-destructive? What do you do about this? Can we challenge our clients to examine their values without imposing our own values on our clients? These are some important questions that you need to consider. Referrals. Sometimes what we'd like to do when we meet someone and our values are not in alignment, we'd like to refer them to someone else who perhaps has more in line with their values. The problem is you must be very careful in how you refer clients. You perhaps over some time have developed a relationship with them, and if you suddenly decide to refer them after they've revealed something that's a conflict in your values, well, this can be interpreted as rejection. And we have to go back to our basic principles. Non-maleficence, do no harm. Beneficence, do good. As we consider whether or not we can refer, we have to consider these basic principles first. Let's see. Referrals should only be made under special circumstances and with great thought to the client's best interests. If you honestly cannot say, oh, this is for the client's best interest, not mine, not my comfort levels, then you cannot or should not refer. Think of some specific areas of difficulty: sexual attitudes, behaviors, preferences. If you have a client who reveals that they are a member of the LGBTQ community and you differ and you feel like this is sin, you cannot immediately refer them because of that. You might be able to refer if the goals are not in line with what you as a counselor can do. Or you might be able to refer them if you really feel like you are out of your area of expertise. But you have to be very careful with this. Suppose they're pregnant and you don't want to keep the baby. And they want to go get an abortion and you feel like abortion is murder. What do you do? Spirituality and faith. We can meet many people from different walks of life, different faiths. It's important for us to be able to respect them, listen to them, hear them out. As a Christian, we would definitely want to share our faith and our beliefs. And yet, where are we crossing the line? These are things you have to really think about, pray about, and learn. Read this ethics book with great care. Politics. America right now is full of strife and division over politics and ideals. And you cannot refer someone just because they are politically different from you. You have to look at their goals, and you have to look at where they're trying to do, what their needs are as they come to you as a counseling client. And compartmentalize perhaps and separate, don't think about those things. End of life decisions. What do you do if they've decided that they would like to end their life because of they're in the late stages of cancer and they're experiencing so much pain, and you believe in the sanctity of life? So many questions that are really important to look at. When you come across these conflicts of values, first thing you do is start that ethical decision-making model before you do anything. All right, chapter 4 then addresses multicultural perspectives. So in this chapter, we'll look at all the terminology related to multiculturalism and diversity. We'll identify how cultural encapsulation is an ethical matter. If I'm encapsulated in my own culture and I have no understanding of other cultures, then are you breaking ethical codes? We have to examine ethical codes from a multicultural diversity perspective, but also from a social justice perspective. If we look and we do a power analysis and we see this person is from an oppressed culture, what can we do from a social justice perspective to be the hand of Christ and help them? We also want to evaluate a range of cultural values and assumptions, and which ones we're going to have difficulty with. The more you can prepare in advance for who you think might be a really difficult client for you to face, think about these things and be prepared. We have to discuss ethical issues pertaining to sexual orientation. How do you work with people with disabilities? What about when the match between the client and the counselor is not quite a good match? How do we deal with this? We also have to consider the effects of unintentional racism and microaggressions and how they affect clients. And put yourself in their shoes for a little while to experience the things that they listen to them. How have these things impacted their lives? Perhaps inhibited their opportunities and so on. Culturally sensitive counselor will be a good listener and open to hearing the client, accepting their perspective. So in this chapter, there's a lot of information about multicultural competence and what you can do to gain this competence. You need to know the terminology about what is culture, what's cultural tunnel vision, prejudice, ethnicity, what's an oppressed group, what's a microaggression, what is diversity, cultural empathy, social justice, racism, and so many more terms. Make sure you look and become familiar with the terminology. The terms are often a part of the test, okay? Warning. The impact of culture is also multifaceted. You need to look holistically at clients. Are they from an individualistic culture or a collectivist culture? It's going to impact how they react to some things. What stereotypes and cultural biases have impacted them? There are certainly more cultures than you might think. It does go beyond race and ethnicity. It includes sexuality, spirituality, ability or disability, socioeconomic status, life experiences. Think about your clients and their power status. How this has impacted where they are and where they can move to. We cannot get it all in here, and you don't want to listen to me talking for hours and hours. Anyway, so make sure you read the chapter very carefully. I will see you next week. Bye.